there are things that you learn in basic SEAL training that stick with you. One of them is that motivation is worthless. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. Because what's going to happen going through SEAL training is you are going to do things that you 100% do not want to do at that moment. So it's 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, you've been wet, cold, and miserable, you get dragged up onto the beach, you climb up onto the beach, you get underneath your boat for 7 minutes, you're huddled up with your guys, you're trying to create body heat to get a little bit of warmth, and you start feeling a little bit of warmth, and then your instructor's like, get back in the water. No one in that class wants to get back in the water, 0 people. 0 people want to get back in the water. The motivation level to get back in the water is 0. It might even be -9, right? It is low. And guess what you're going to do? Get out from under the boat, you're going to get back in the water. So what you realize is that motivation doesn't matter at all. What matters is the discipline that you're going to execute what you're being told at that time to execute. Now, the other thing that's happening in SEAL training is, believe it or not, you have a lot of freedom. You have a lot of freedom in SEAL training. You get weekends off. You get a lot of weekends off. Sometimes you get nights off. You have time. You can go right. You're in one of the most beautiful places in the world, Coronado, California. There's stores out there. There's little bars guys can go to. Then you go from Coronado, you can get a cab. Back in the day, you can get a cab. Now you can get an Uber or a Lyft or whatever. You can go right over into downtown San Diego. Now you got clubs, you got bars, you got things going on. You got women you can chase around. You can go all the way up to Pacific Beach. There's colleges that pour into Pacific Beach, and there's all that mayhem to get into. And guess what? If you want to go out and get into that mayhem, you can. But that costs some people, some guys going through that training, that costs them the ability to make it through training. They either get in trouble or they're not ready for that 4-mile timed run on Monday morning. But those temptations are there. And what protects you from those temptations is discipline. That's what it is. So motivation isn't what we are relying on. And we can't rely on motivation. Because like I said, if you and I got to get in the water to go conduct an operation, the motivation to do that will be 0, might even be -9, might be -12, might be -1,000. And you know what? Doesn't matter. You and I are going to go do what we have to do. But going through SEAL training, you're having stuff imposed upon you. This is what you will do now. In a lot of ways, that's easier, right? It's easier to do that. It's easier to get put in the water because you're being told to get put in the water. But what they do is you have those weekends off. You have those times you can get in trouble. You have a 4-mile timed run. There's no pace setting. As a matter of fact, this is a reason they do this. You don't have a watch on. They don't let you have a watch in SEAL training. So you do a 4-mile timed run. You have to make a certain time. You have to make a certain time. You don't know what the time is because you don't know what time it is because you don't have a watch. So you know what you have to do? Run as hard as you can. Same thing with a swim. What do? Swim as hard as you can. Same thing with the obstacle course. The motivation won't be there. 3.5 miles into a 4-mile time run, you're dying. You feel like you're gonna die. What do you gotta do? You gotta have the discipline to keep pushing. Otherwise, you're not gonna make the time.